if you've been stuck in a loop for a really long time, it could be any loop. It could be chronic illness, it could be financial, it could be professional, it could be relationships. There's a wall that you hit over and over and over again. In my case, 12 years ago, I completely lost my life. It happened in what felt like overnight, but it was an entire lifetime of creation, I would say. Creation built on belief systems that are part of one of the stories. In my 12-year journey, I came to learn the most important thing that I could ever know. And that is that there are only two stories. There's the false story, which is what most of us run around chasing and becoming. It's the story we were told when we were little. It's the story of our family. It's the story of our teachers. It's the story of our schools. It's the story of our degrees. It's the story of our doctors. It's the story of our government. It's the story of our freedom. When in fact, none of those stories are true. And the more you identify with those stories, those creations, those figments of your imagination, the worse things become, the more the symptoms come up. Because the body is very wise, and the body's a channel for the true story, the oversoul. Everybody has an oversoul. It's that piece of you that is still with God, the universe, your angels, whatever you want to call it, is the piece of you that is still in spirit form. She's the wisest, he, she, the wisest, the most just, the most perfect voice that you have access to. It is the one voice that is the medicine to beat all medicines. And it took me 12 long years to finally be able to find my own medicine. And that was my book, Awakening in an Age of Metals. And it documents the true story of where I came from and what I had to go through to get to the truth. There's only one truth. And sometimes we resist it. I know I did. I did resist it for a long time. I constantly was going back to the doctors and the diets and the practitioners and the scientists and the news articles and the podcasts. And granted, some of them were helpful for sure. Some of them were interesting. But I was still trying to find my place in that old story. We can never do that, because once you've gotten to the point where you know you're not okay, and you know that you're stuck, and you know that you're not moving in the direction of your mission. Everybody has a mission. We all come down here with a job. And if we're not doing our job, we don't feel well. We don't feel right. We don't feel comfortable in our own skin. Because we're either moving in the direction of the old story, which is the fictional narrative, which is very dangerous, or we're moving in the direction of the truth, the oversoul, the blueprint of the soul, and that is safety, and that is success, and that is health, and that is magic, and that's creativity, and that's everything good. It's nature. It's love. That's it. It's literally that simple. However, it's difficult to finally surrender to the truth. And the one tried and true way we've always surrendered to the truth and healed ourselves is with story. It's the oldest healing technology we have. Indigenous cultures have been doing it for thousands of years. Many religions, many communities have been healing themselves with story for hundreds and thousands of years. Why? Because stories are the way in. They're the channel to the oversoul. There isn't another way. There is not another way to get in other than to align yourself with the true story of who you are and why you came here. And that is why I use many different mediums to get to the truth. I use painting, I use writing, I use podcasting. Often I use just connecting with another human soul. And the only rule there is that you need to accept and surrender to the truth of your oversoul, the voice, the intuition that you're hearing. Because often when we gravitate towards our intuition, we become who we were meant to be. When we resist our intuition, that's when you're in the doctor's office and you're hearing something and you feel weird and you want to leave. Well, that's your intuition saying, this isn't who you are. Please go find who you are. Because if you don't find who you are, then you're going to become who somebody else needs you to be, and you never want to be there, not for long. And many of us, myself included especially, spent years and decades in a false narrative. And that's when the symptoms come, and the allergies come, and the pain comes, and the sadness comes, and the loneliness, and you can't find your way out. Why? Because you're constantly looking at the old story. How do you know you're looking at the old story? It's negative. Why aren't you this? And why didn't you accomplish this? And why didn't you just do this? And couldn't you have just said that? And couldn't you have been just that for a little while? That is your mind. The mind is a sickness. It's a disease in and of itself. And that is because the mind is coordinated through the ego. The ego has a false construct. So whenever you listen to your mind, or if somebody tells you your mind can heal you, run, because that isn't true. The mind has to become a quiet, docile, still place. It must be managed. And the only way to manage your mind is by assuming the position of the oversoul. You have to merge with the true voice of who you are. She's quiet. She's subtle. She comes in whispers. She comes in moments. You might be washing a dish and suddenly it drops in. That's her. She's honest. She's the medicine. She's the truth. But if you don't run from the dish to your computer or to the pen and paper, then you're going to miss the wisdom that's actually trying to liberate you from everything that you don't want. She's asking you for your attention. And she does it in those still moments. But for many of us, it's not enough. And we need to channel it. And we need to become it. And we need to merge with it so that the brain can change. And the brain can start emitting a new signal. In the framework of a written story, writing changes the brain. It's the truth. It's science. It's fact. There is something called neuroplasticity. That is the truth. I know there are so many people out there who are like, oh, that's kind of kooky and crazy. There's nothing crazy about it. The brain actually changes itself. There are many, many neuroscientists that have done it for themselves with chronic back pain, with chronic disease, with fragrance allergy, with POTS, with chronic fatigue syndrome. These are all things that have been cured. I know it's not a word we're allowed to use on the internet, but maybe this will slide by so that you can actually connect with the only thing that was ever true in your life, which is that you are the manifestation of creation. It's all about creation. And it's about the written word. Everything great we've ever followed has been written down, like the Kabbalah, the Talmud, the Bible, the Quran, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. Anything we think of as something to follow as a guideline has been written. Why? Because when you write something, it is so. You make it so because your brain is now constructing an entirely new story. So whether you want to move through chronic illness, or you want to move through grief, or you want to move through transitioning into a new home, a new life, a new state, a new country, a new way of being in the world, a new marriage, this is the way. This is actually the way forward. Now, I'm not saying that somebody else who uses a different modality can't find it, but this is actually the most potent way to administer medicine to yourself without externalizing it, without going to consistently going to doctors and practitioners and lectures and seminars and webinars and podcasts, and all those things have their place. They for sure have their place, and I've used them too. And I continue to educate myself. But when I want to come back to the truth and raise the bar and raise the ceiling of what I can personally accomplish physically, spiritually, mentally, energetically, I come back to the written word and I write it. And so it is. That is the defining moment of a soul. When you can actually sit down and say, I hear you, I get you, I see you, and now through the written word, I become you. And if this is something that calls to you, like if you're sitting here right now going, this is me, I need to do this, I need to transition, and I just don't know how. I'm afraid, I don't know, I'm not a good writer, I'm not a good storyteller. None of that is true either. That's your mind, that's the false construct. That has nothing to do with who you are. Who you are is a born storyteller, because we all have stories, because we all are creation. There aren't like good writers and bad writers. Like, I don't believe that at all. There aren't good storytellers and bad storytellers. That's insanity. We are all storytellers because we are all creation. And if any of this, even just a little bit, resonates with you, book that discovery call and tell me your story, and I will tell you where to go with it. I will tell you how to sit down and become that new version of yourself. And it really doesn't matter where you're coming from or where you want to go, as long as you know you want to move into the truth of your highest self. The healed version of you, the well version of you, the happy version of you, the creative version of you, the vibrant version of you. That's the story that we're going to move into, because it's the only thing that was ever true in your life. And you forgot about it because you were listening to this thing over here, which is the mind, which is nuts. The mind is absolutely and completely nuts. So we're going to overshadow the mind with the oversoul. And we're going to do it through the most ancient, most powerful healing technology in history, and that is storytelling. So I really hope to see you in our discovery call, because I want to hear your story, the true one, the real one, the one that's going to move you into a whole new place.